Hello, my lovelies. Well, the Bridget McCrone thing is going off. It's all over the internet. And so, yeah, okay. But I think the question is why? Throughout history, power hasn't only been wielded, it's been concealed, manipulated, and distorted. And one of the strangest, most overlooked tactics of those in control has been the deliberate inversion of gender. We've been told that certain rulers disguise themselves for political necessity or safety or ambition. But what if there's another reason, a deeper, darker current running below the surface, something diabolical, one rooted in ritual, energy manipulation, and the manipulation of reality itself? This is simply not about disguise. It is about alchemy, inversion, a war on reality itself, and the war for dominion over the unseen forces that shape the world around us. And this goes back as far as ancient Egypt. The pharaoh Hatshepsut herself was no mere ruler. She was a magician priestess who donned the beard of kingship. I have a friend who goes into this whole story, so I'll post that for you below. But in doing so, she didn't just alter her image. She stepped into an archetype that she was never meant to hold. You see, the ancients understood something that modern minds have forgotten. Power is not just held, power is embodied. And to take the essence of another, whether in gender, form, or identity, is to assume or take on that power, to absorb its force. From Rome's Emperor Elagabalus, who demanded to be worshipped as a goddess, to the esoteric rituals of esoteric priesthoods, rulers have long played this game of transmutation through inversion. But was this simply the expression of self or a kind of occult maneuver, a way to shift the forces that govern power itself? In the alchemical tradition, there exists a concept of the rebus, the androgyne, neither male, neither female, but a divine fusion of both. To reach this state requires deep spiritual transformation, an arduous path of refinement. But is there another way, a darker path? Rather than internal transformation, one might fake the process, mimicking the balance, stealing the energy instead of cultivating it. And when rulers have donned the garb of the opposite sex, were they truly bending circumstances? Or were they ritually declaring dominion over both polarities? Seizing the feminine and the masculine, taking it all and leaving nothing. Some traditions whisper of inversion as being a gateway, a way to summon other powers, other forces, spirits, for example, bending archetypal forces, or corrupting the very idea of divine balance. If you can wear the sun and the moon, you might trick the cosmos into believing that you are above both. But the universe is not so easily deceived, and that's good news. There are stories buried in forgotten grimoires and hidden within esoteric traditions of those who change their form not as a deception but as an invitation. The act of assuming another identity is not like putting on a costume, it is a summoning. In ritual magic, when a spirit is summoned, brought down, sometimes the magician actually takes on the attributes of that spirit. And sometimes the transformation is not even metaphorical. There are accounts of where rulers have done this and taken this on, and they're not even themselves. They don't even seem to be like themselves after this. They seem to have changed completely. For example, was Elagabalus merely indulgent? Or did he become the vessel for something else? Did the priest kings who walked the temples in the garb of the goddess do so in reverence, or were they possessed? When a ruler declares themselves above gender, are they claiming freedom? or submission to something greater, something unseen, to wear the guise of another can blur the lines between self and another, a foreign entity. And what begins as a tool can become a doorway. But what happens when this inversion is a widespread enchantment? Throughout history, rulers have understood a key principle of mass mind control. To disrupt polarity is to disrupt clarity. And when you erase boundaries, you erase resistance. A world in which archetypal roles are eroded is a world easier to rule. The ancients believed that masculine and feminine forces held spiritual, cosmic resonance. Opposites that, when properly balanced, generated life, power, and meaning. But if you collapse polarity, if you make one indistinguishable from the other, you unravel the ability to see clearly, to discern, to fight back. Confusion is a weapon, and a populace stripped of its certainty is a populace that can be led anywhere. The highest magicians knew that true power lay in harmony between opposites, not their destruction. But black magicians, the ones who sought dominion over the natural order, have long attempted to counterfeit enlightenment, to hijack balance instead of cultivate it, to mimic the sacred while turning it into an instrument of control. What we are witnessing is not new. It is an ancient game, one played by kings and priestesses, emperors and warlords, cult leaders and mystics. The truth is, the cosmic pendulum swings. The truth of divine polarity, of masculine and feminine as sacred forces and not tools of control, will return. And those that sought to hijack these energies will find themselves in the same chaos that they sought to create. The counterfeit will crack. The illusions of false kings and false queens will fade. And the real magicians, who never sought to steal but to align, will reclaim the balance. This was never about gender. This was about power, and it always is. The question is, who holds it? What's so cool is we go into this in season 4, Magical Egypt, and that one's about to drop any minute now because Chance is just about finished, so I'm so excited. So, more soon, lovelies.